Either I got taller or Rivian shrank the R1S. What this actually is, though, is the long-awaited, very exciting Rivian R2, a smaller, more affordable entry-level SUV to their lineup. Now, the Rivian R1T and R1S are properly impressive, a flagship pickup truck and SUV, but they're also quite expensive, and not everybody needs something quite that big. So that's where the R2 is going to be very, very important. This is the volume play, a smaller SUV that is a very, very appealing price point, but still offers some really, really good features and design and technology. They need this thing to be extremely popular, and they need to sell a lot of these. So today we are out in Utah getting to experience the new Rivian R2. This is going to be very exciting. We'll get to check out the design, the interior, take it for a drive, do some off-roading, and see, does this preserve the proper Rivian essence, just in a smaller, more affordable package. Let's talk about some specs. Not surprisingly, we have different powertrain options to pick from. This one here is the top of the line performance one, so it's gonna have the most impressive numbers. Dual motor all-wheel drive, 656 horsepower, 609 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. So yeah, that is plenty quick. But for the more reasonable R2 options, there are other ones available. So the regular all-wheel drive one is 450 horsepower, but there is a standard rear-wheel drive model that's even more affordable at 350 horsepower. All of them are still pretty quick. Even that standard rear-wheel drive one will do 60 in under 6 seconds. Now, range, right? We have an 88 kilowatt-hour battery pack, and depending on the power level, your range number will change, but they're all a good amount over 300 miles. The standard long-range battery pack, so the 88 kilowatt-hour rear-wheel drive, is going to be doing 345 miles of range on a charge, which is pretty good. And even if you step all the way up to this 656 horsepower performance one, it's still going to do a bit over 300 miles. Now, the really affordable one, the one we heard about, the $45,000 Rivian R2, has some caveats. It is still coming, but it's going to be a little bit later. It will have a slightly smaller battery pack, no confirmation of the official capacity quite yet, but a $45,000 entry-level smaller battery pack R2 will be able to do at least 275 miles of range. So that one will be very interesting to see. But at launch, you're going to start with the top-of-the-line one like this, and today we are driving the 656 horsepower performance version. We have a setup here with a bunch of different R2s and different displays for various systems, from the batteries, the motors, design. Let's go see what's going on. This first R2 is finished in a color called Catalina Cove. It's a new color for the R2, like a bluish green hue. We've got the hood open so you can see the front trunk. And then we have another one over here. This is called Launch Green. Definitely a more greenish hue, but still rather subtle in terms of the color. Green is not like super vibrant. We've got, this was just body in white, showing the actual body itself. You can see under the skin. And then this one is a new color called Esker Silver. This is actually the base R2. This is the very, very appealing priced entry-level one in the $40,000 range, $45,000. So it also has these smaller wheels and a neutral shade of silver here. But this one, oh, it's purple. This is Borealis, and this one has the full roof tent setup, which is actually so cool.
I'm James Philbin. I run the Autonomy team here at Rivian. Very excited to tell you about Autonomy on R2. So for R2, we really built the Autonomy stack, based on a lot of the work we did on R1 Gen 2, but we improved things in several key ways. So the R2 still has 11 cameras, but we actually increased the camera resolution from 55 to 65 megapixels. And R2 also has 5 radars, but it has brand new corner radars.
Oh, okay.
So the corner radars see and can detect objects both closer to and further away from the vehicle. And so when you put those two things together, you get a much better understanding of the world around the vehicle. We can detect objects and stuff, and the road surface that's around every R2. A large part of the technical foundation is the large driving model. So this is a model that is trained end to end, from sensor data, sequences of sensor data, through to driving actions. And you can imagine that through our customer data, we've seen many millions of sequences and scenarios all sorts of different weather and other conditions, and all that data can build a very robust autonomy stack. And that'll be a key piece of the point-to-point system, which will begin a public rollout by the end of this year.
Yeah, can you run through some of those features you're saying? So parking, point-to-point, coming, right?
Yeah. So what's available now is universal hands-free. So that's hands-free system. It basically works anywhere there's marked lane lines, so you can engage it. It's actually, unlike some of our competitors that have this like hard dependency on a map, universal hands-free essentially works anywhere you can see a lane line.
Oh, so you don't need to have a mapped road.
Yes, you don't need to have a mapped road. So we say it's more than 3.5 million miles of road, but actually we don't know exactly what that number is because there's no exact statistic on like how many roads have markings on them. But that's how the system works. And yeah, that's available on R1 Gen 2 and will be on R2 at launch. And as I said earlier, the launch edition of R2 will include Lifetime Autonomy Plus. So that will come with all those great features. Later this year, we're launching the version 2 of Universal Hands-Free. And so that will, today the system will alert you to traffic lights and stop signs, but it won't actually bring the vehicle to a stop. The next version of that will do that full actuation. And so that'll be a lot more useful in metropolitan environments to use that feature. But we're also working on automatic parking, where you'll be driving along, the system will detect a spot, you click it, and the vehicle will do the parking maneuver. And then later this year, we'll begin the public rollout of point-to-point. So that's a system where you can really dial in the address, click go, engage the system, and it will do the full driving maneuver for you.
All right, we've got Jeff here, the Chief Design Officer for Rivian, and someone who I have actually known for a long time, from back in Michigan.
That's
nice to see you again.
Yeah. Well, this is the R2. We've been working on this vehicle for quite some time now. The one you're seeing here is our performance model, which is in our Borealis color. This is one of the premium colors you can get on our premium and performance trim. And a lot of you tell, which is a great thing, we hear it like, this looks like a smaller R1S.
Literally.
Yeah, that was done intentionally. There's quite a few little design differences that we've done through this, but really the key thing we wanted to come through and carry over was the front end. We're really happy with what we landed on R1, having a front end that's very recognizable, something that you could be driving from a mile away and automatically recognize it's a Rivian. But there are some adjustments we've made given the proportion of the car. The headlight shape here is a little bit less tall. On R1 you see it's taller and narrower, R2 it's wider. There's more dimensionality in the headlights. The other thing too is if you look at it, it's a very slight difference. You'd have to see an R1S next to it. But the overall character of the lights got a little bit of a scowl. We don't want any of our cars to look aggressive. It's about being inviting. It's a key aspect for our brand. I like to call R2 the younger, more athletic version of R1.
I see.
And the overall size of this vehicle is much smaller, clearly, than an R1. But when we scaled the vehicle down, one of the things we did was we didn't scale the wheel and tire down as much as we scaled the rest of the car down. So from a proportion standpoint, we're really happy with how it turned out because we've got great short front and rear overhangs, a great ground clearance. For reference, the ground clearance on this is 9.65 inches, which is basically the same as a Jeep Wrangler, with 32-inch OD tires, which is more than a base Bronco for reference. Obviously a Raptor is bigger than that, but this isn't a vehicle that can also do 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. So the duality,
which those cannot do.
Yeah, and the duality of this car, both on-road and off-road, is something that we really wanted to maintain from R1 and into R2.
I see.
I'm excited for you to drive it because to give you your same impressions as well. It's probably my favorite feature will be the haptic halo wheels.
Oh, those are so cool.
So this is one of those examples of something that we really wanted to be able to offer some additional functionality for customers who really just want physical controls. And we did some research, and the top 3 things that people asked for was volume, fan speed, and temperature. And if you have a fixed control on your dash, one, aside from we want to keep our dash very clean, it's a little challenging from a software-defined vehicle because that means you can never really update it. So with these haptic wheels, you can essentially pick what mode you want. You can have your right wheel essentially do fan speed, it can do temperature, you can also adjust your nav view. If you pull from behind of this wheel, you can also change your drive modes. And the great thing about this is basically the wheel has 6 degrees of motion. You can roll up and down, press in and out, and then side to side.
That's so cool.
And it's all done through haptics. So the great thing about that is if you're going through your fan speed menu, for example, you'll go through 6 distinct clicks and you'll feel each one. And when you get to the top, it'll stop and it'll resist to
Resistance.
let you know. And when you do temperature, for example, or volume, you'll get fine, minute clicks, and we can adjust the haptic to make the stereo feel like you're adjusting like a hi-fi stereo equipment, or the fan like you're adjusting a Nest thermostat, to really provide that haptic feeling. So then that way you don't even need to take your hands off the road, because you can just feel what it's doing.
That's cool. And so other than spinning, the wheels, when you go forward, back, left, right, they're not moving, right? They actually don't.
It does rotate,
But it spins,
but
yeah.
it spins.
Yeah.
But no, the rest of it's done through
It's just
haptic. It's
haptic
actually
feedback.
not moving.
That's
Yeah.
really, really
Yeah.
cool. And I love that because, like, you know, some manufacturers just little touchy, swipey controls or light up pads. That's a really, really cool interface. What else about the interior are you really proud to highlight?
I like what we did. A lot of the things we did from a storage and functionality. If you just look right there on the door, we improved some things from R1. If you look at where the grab handle is, we made it a little bit more chunkier, but there's room for sunglasses right beneath that. We moved the speakers out of the door and put them into the center console, which means you can fit a full-size water bottle in there.
This is actually a massive space.
Yes,
Wow.
and that's both front and rear.
Okay.
We have 2 glove boxes, which we didn't have on R1, that you can also open. We also incorporated this tray in here, which was designed specifically. We had customer feedback that people want a place to put a full-size tissue box. So it fits
very
perfectly in here.
specific.
Yes, exactly. And it was a lot of people that wanted that, so that fits exactly in there. And then still providing that same level of storage for this tunnel space, which a lot of our female customers really like to be able to put their bag down there as well.
Yeah. You know, with 2 glove boxes on the R2, eventually you'll reach an average of 1 glove box per Rivian vehicle.
Yeah.
Mathematically speaking, because there's 0 on the R1.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll get there. That's why you did 2, right? If you were ordering your R2, what spec are you going? What color combo?
Mine's probably would be Catalina Cove with the Coastal Cloud interior. Hard debate between the 21s or the all-terrain 20s.
That's good. That's a good spec right
Yeah.
there. Thanks, Jeff.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, so this R2 we were checking out has a roof tent, which means obviously I have to climb up and check out the roof tent. So we've got the ladder, which hopefully should support my weight. Ooh, this is like spacious and nice. I'm trying to do this gracefully one-handed while holding the camera and not fall off. This is actually really, really nice. I went tent camping with my wife in like an aftermarket Jeep with a roof tent that had a fold out, and it was all right. This is substantially nicer. And we have this big viewing window, which is very, very nice. And the cool thing about being on top of an EV is we have climate control, lighting, USB-C charging. So we have air for comfort. You got air vents there. We got Jeff filming down there with somebody else. Ooh, this pillow's nice. We got cup holders too. Imagine parking somewhere up in the mountains and enjoying the view out. Here we're just at the Waldorf in Park City, Utah, but take a look out there. Wow. This is actually kind of awesome. Is this reason enough to buy an R2? Maybe, just for this thing. Oh man. You're right, this is much more intense. This is where the short front and rear overhangs are gonna come in handy. Tip over just a little. Aha! 3-wheeling. Yeah, okay. Again, to reiterate, a Tesla Model Y would not survive here. So future Rivian R2 owners, this is showing that you can indeed take your R2 off-roading and go explore and go on adventures.
Stay on the left.
Stay on left here? All right. Right, looked easier.
Yeah, that's why we're staying there.
And this is essentially just tires. There's just all-terrain tires, right? Like everything out of the box is the same. We're not in some sort of special off-road version or anything. It's just an R2 performance with the all-terrain tires, which does give you the mode. But I like off-roading EVs. It's just so much quieter and smoother, so much more control, but just as technical and challenging. It's kind of like a cheat code compared to you hop back in like a Bronco or a Wrangler, like, oh, so many things to fiddle around with. These things make it easy. Yeah, exactly. That was just no need to fiddle with 4 low or whatever. Just go. Slow, careful. Not a problem.
Just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. This is actually split, stay left.
Yep, stay left.
Pretty smooth.
Very smooth.
I'm impressed. All right, that concludes our off-roading section of the R2 Drive. Let's take a tour outside and inside this specific R2 to check out some details. I have the hazards on so you can see some of the lighting features like the turn signals down here. Now the front fascia is immediately recognizable as a Rivian. The family resemblance to the R1T, R1S is very strong with the extended circle oval DRLs, the full light bar. Now the lights are a little bit smaller because you have a smaller overall vehicle and front area, but I mean, if you see one of these coming towards you at night on the road, you immediately know it is a Rivian. Now up front we do have tow hooks here, and this panel on the bumper is actually painted like this dark metallic-y gray black. It's not body color. And then the short front and rear overhangs, which is a Rivian signature look, also great approach angles and departure angles out back. Now this one here as a performance has the upgraded 21-inch wheels. Really cool design, lots of yellow accents on the brakes there, also little Rivian lettering on the wheel itself. You can do the smaller wheels, you can do the all-terrain wheels on this one. So when we off-road one of these, it'll be a performance, but it'll have the all-terrain tires. Now this is a really cool little detail. This says Rivian and it lights up, so it's the side turn signal indicator, and it also illuminates with the hazards on right now, and they have the Rivian lettering, so that's a really cool touch. And then if we look right here, we have a little bit of aero pass through. Obviously with any EV, aerodynamics is very, very important, and that's somewhere that Rivian didn't really stray too much from their formula. They could have made this into like a teardrop egg shape, right? But they maintain that two-box proper SUV look, so it's more distinctive, it's more unique, it stands out. It really does look like an R1S that got shrank. Now there is some aero channeling. You see how it drops in there, and there's a pass-through spoiler, so aerodynamics are still very important. Somebody said that the decision to go for a more conventional Rivian SUV look costs maybe 10-ish miles of range, which I think is a pretty good trade-off. Now we have the full light bar out back, the Rivian lettering, which is like carved out. They have a really cool 3D look. You get the R2 badge with the yellow accent, so you know it's the performance. License plate also is moved from up here down here to the bumper area compared to the R1. And then, this is so cool, that's the windshield wiper. It's not mounted on the window because this goes all the way down. And then the third brakelet is also really cool too. So the rear end of the R2 is definitely pretty distinctive. The charging port is back here now because it's a Tesla style NACS charging port, and this positioning is better for supercharger access. There's also a maze on the charging door right there. Maybe it's for you to solve when you're waiting for your vehicle to charge. Overall, I think this looks really, really nice. It's a smaller scaled down R1S. It preserves the Rivian design essence. You immediately know it's a Rivian, and it looks really cool, especially in this Catalina Cove color. A lot of metallic flake to the blue too. Definitely a cool paint color. All right, let's go check out some things on the inside now. On the inside, a lot of familiar Rivian things with some improvements. So the steering wheel features these halo wheel toggles, which I am a huge fan of. We have the very nice infotainment screen. Their graphics are so nice. Remember, this is all Rivian's own system. No Apple CarPlay, no Android Auto, but having spent time with Gen 2 R1S, R1T, big fan. Materials are really, really nice too, and it has that whole rugged kind of adventure feel. Seats are very similar, reminiscent of the flagship R1. You get the Rivian lettering here, some good adjustability, and some like rugged materials. Like look at these floor mats are like woven. Now the door panel also features some really nice materials. This is really impressive. They moved the speaker out of the door panel here, so you can put a massive water bottle in here. Like I'm pretty sure I could fit my entire tripod in here with a water bottle. That's a lot of practicality. We have the big panoramic glass roof up there, and another really cool thing is this button right here. It says 5X. If I press and hold, I don't even hold it, just press it, all the windows go down, including the rear window, and you have this whole open air experience, and it's really cool. We tried it when we were on the road. It was definitely really, really nice. Another big change to note up here is we have glove boxes. Not one, but two glove boxes. So storage practicality is very strong. There's also a slide out bin right here, our center console, the wireless charger, and then even more deep storage in there. So man, there's lots of places to store your belongings. I really, really like that. One final little thing to show is, of course, we have the flashlight in the door that charges up. You can also get a hand warmer that'll stay charged there if you want. Now, second row. It is so spacious back here. I have the driver's seat set to where I'm comfortable driving at 6'3", and I'm sitting back here, and I have tons of space. They told us the R2 second row is more spacious than the second row in the R1T and R1S. You don't have a third row, obviously. The R1S did have that, but this second row space is actually phenomenal. I have tons of headroom. It is really, really nice back here. We've got USB-C charging port here. There's actually an accessory you can put to hold an iPad, a tablet. The seats are heated back here too. It is really, really nice here in the second row. I am properly impressed. Go to the V, and right up there, you can open your power tailgate. So a lot of space back here too. We have a outlet right here, a 12 volt, so you can plug in stuff. That is 1900 watt max. You could run like a blender or like a microwave off that, right? Like if you're camping or something. Even more storage down there. Wow. There was actually a ton of storage in this thing. You can fold it down if you need to. Go ahead and close that. And I think there's one more thing I want to show, the front trunk. And then we can go. Did you see all the dust that just came out from when we closed that? The rear glass is down right now, but there's 3 little dashes right here. If I press and hold that, I can close the rear windshield. This is actually really, really nifty. Up front, there's one more thing. If I want to open the front trunk, there's 3 little dashes right there. Press that, and the trunk will power open for access to the front trunk, which is, again, decently spacious. We got Drake's backpack in here. And then if you want to close it, it is not power closed. So you do need to let it gently latch. Oh, that is hot. That is sitting in the sun. That is very hot. Whew. And it will latch soft close. Wow, that was toasty. All right, in the car on the road with Drake.
Hello.
We're heading up into the mountains north of Salt Lake City / Park City / somewhere in Utah. The scenery is beautiful out here. Yeah, and we've got a nice curvy road. We commuted out on the freeway in the R2. You were driving, I was a passenger. My initial impressions from the passenger seat were very, very quiet. Definitely pretty isolated. The suspension you can feel is not quite as floaty as air suspension in the R1, which is naturally to be expected. But it was pretty nice just to drive around in and be in. What do you think?
And on the freeway, I was using the universal hands-free, which is pretty good. I'm wearing polarized sunglasses, and sometimes that can trip up the eye scanners, but didn't have that issue.
Yeah. Universal hands-free is such a huge step up. I remember the Gen 1 R1, I don't remember if it was a T or S, but I tried the driver assistance tech, the lane keeping, adaptive cruise, and it was so bad, I just disabled it for the rest of the week I had the vehicle. I was like, no, this is not it. You need to work on this Rivian. And then their Gen 2 was such a huge step forward after their AI day. I actually got the software update for Autonomy, universal. Yeah, it was in my garage, and it was at night. I was like, I don't know, watching TV with my wife, and I got the notification of the Rivian app. It's like, oh, your vehicle's updating. I'm like, oh, cool. Next day, universal hands-free. I mean, I did a trip from Detroit to Chicago and back. I would estimate, mostly freeway, obviously, 90-something% was hands-free.
Wow.
It did such a good job, and they're only advancing it further. So we got to try it out here, universal hands-free, which is on. And the interesting thing is, the Autonomy guy was telling me, other systems rely on mapped roads. You hear like GM with Super Cruise and Ford with Blue Cruise talk about how many roads they have mapped. They technically don't need mapped roads. As long as the road has lines on it, it should be able to do it. That's the way it was said to me.
Interesting.
Which is definitely a different way of approaching it, because I think it's got more processing power in the AI and the camera suite and the sensors and everything like that.
I'm sure they're also taking in data from
the people driving. 100%. They were talking about the large data model or something. So
large driving model.
Something like that. Yeah. So yeah, universal hands-free available here on the R2, and it's only going to get more advanced. They're saying point to point later this year.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy how fast they've advanced too, because I was on the drive for the 2nd gen R1, and then they had no hands-free technology. They were advertising how on the freeway, hands-on, it will do an auto lane change if you put on the turn signal. That was the big advancement they were talking about then, and 2 years later, here we are.
Serious steps forward.
Actual hands-free and point-to-point later this year, which is really impressive.
And I think Rivian's autonomy system, their zonal architecture, I think one of the biggest endorsements you can give it is another major OEM, Volkswagen, being willing to chuck lots of money in the joint venture, right? Like that just shows like, oh, you guys are doing something really, really good. Can we please have a slice of the pie?
Yep.
So yeah, that R2 definitely it needs it to compete with the Model Y, right? With what they call FSD. But we're on some curvy roads. We are currently in sport mode. Shall we do some sportiness?
Let's do it.
So this one is the Performance.
Yep.
And it has 656 horsepower. Now, we still are on all-season tires with the larger 21-inch wheels, but it's quick.
Very quick.
All EVs intrinsically are going to be sportier, right? You get that immediate torque, you get just smooth power delivery, and they're just usually faster out of the box. But once you go to the top of the line ones here, 656 horsepower, 60 in 3.6 seconds, and it's not like a quad where you go, oh my gosh, what is happening kind of power, or like the really, really fast EVs, right?
Right.
But it's more than enough power to be like, yeah, I'm fast.
You're going to have fun with it.
You are and it doesn't let off.
Yeah,
So,
oh my God. And we're going uphill.
Uphill. Yeah. And
Beyond highway speeds.
I was going to say at elevation, but EVs don't care about
Yeah,
elevation. But yeah, we've
be
done
on
a
the
couple mild acceleration tests to reasonable velocities.
What you saying about mild?
It's fast. It's definitely still fast. But if you don't need this level, right, and you go down to just the dual or the base one,
Yeah.
it's still quick. Like
Yeah.
I think the slowest one is still 0 to 60 in like the mid 5-second range.
Right, you're still getting over 300 horsepower.
Exactly. And you'll get seriously good range as you step down from this. But even the performance here, I mean, it's rated at 300, a little over 300 miles of range, which, what were we seeing when we left? We were at like...
I think when we were at 80% in all-purpose mode, it was showing 280 or 275. So
Yeah.
like, really good.
Yeah,
because that's what
definitely
you'll
good.
charge it to on a daily basis.
Yeah. Let me actually go back into all-purpose. There's not as big of a difference from the suspension feel because it's just passive with dampers, right? It's coils with dampers. It's not air suspension. It definitely softens up a bit. Steering lightens up for sure.
But it's an acceptable ride quality.
Oh yeah.
Like,
It's definitely fine.
and Rivian had some initial issues with their suspension, especially on R1S. But this is
porpoise.
Yeah, this is
I felt
totally.
that.
It's not the most comfortable vehicle, but it's this is less than, even this one is less than 60 grand.
Which is, that's the whole play for Rivian, right?
Yeah.
R1s are fantastic, but it's a flagship Halo product, $100,000. Not everybody can afford that. Not everybody needs that. Here, volume play, or going up against the Tesla Model Y. I would say the Volvo EX60.
Yep.
Maybe
The new iX3, although the iX3 starts above 60.
Oh,
which
does
is
it?
crazy, yeah.
Is that even out? Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's coming out later this
soon.
year.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
new class. What else? You could maybe say Mustang Mach-E, maybe a
Yeah.
Hyundai Ioniq 5-ish.
Ish.
These segments are kind of... Oh, regen's a lot higher right now. I don't like that. It's really getting blurry. You've driven EX60. How do you feel compared to this?
That car was definitely a bit smoother, very quiet, impressively quiet. Definitely more of a luxury take, not as dynamic. The steering was a little weird. This holds up better in the corners for sure. That's going to be more your urban vehicle, also has more impressive range on offer, but again, gets pricier. The models we were driving, which went like 310 miles per charge, were approaching 70 with all the bells and whistles. But again, a little more premium. That has CarPlay. That has the really impressive Bowers & Wilkins speakers.
Yeah.
Both of those vehicles have Dolby Atmos, this and that, but the Bowers & Wilkins system is definitely a little more impressive. I think we were listening to some songs earlier, I think this is a little nicer than the speakers on the R1 products right now, because those definitely... they switched away from the Meridian system and went to their own in-house setup, and I think that was a downgrade.
They heard the feedback.
Yes.
They specifically said they worked on it for this model. I haven't gotten to drive the EX60, got to check it out up close. Very different personalities, although I feel like the EX60 cross country might be one that's going to be more targeting the R2 adventure-y feel.
Yep.
Right, lifted, although that will get air suspension. Lots of choices, but I think the R2 is a rather compelling package.
Especially the price. The
Yes.
price, I can't believe, especially because it looks like an R1S.
Yeah, it's like a little mini R1S. There were two parked next. There was an R1S quad parked next to an R2 over at the hotel before we left this morning. So I went to check them out up close. When they're next to each other, you can very easily tell that the R2 is the baby one. But there's lots of family resemblance for sure.
Yeah. I think this is
our little turn around, head back down.
Where do you see your navigation?
It's at the very bottom. So I've got the efficiency graph on the left, which I could change the navigation, but at the bottom of the cluster, there was a little turn-by-turn direction.
Oh.
Nifty. Honestly,
I thought you were just making turns. I was like, we're going to get lost back here.
I could have probably made that turn, but... Ooh, overhead view camera, very nice. They also improved the resolution it's like 65 megapixels or something, because they use cameras for the autonomy system. But you have radar, additional, and they're adding LiDAR.
Oh.
That I was surprised to hear that. So late next model year maybe, like it's a later in the cycle, they're going to be introducing LiDAR for even more advanced capabilities.
So they're not like Tesla where they're only doing visual.
Yes, they are not at all. They have more redundancies and everything. What else about the R2? Let's see. I do like, we talked about the packaging, interior improvements.
Yeah, and like sitting here, this doesn't feel like a really small vehicle.
Doesn't, no.
No, like it really, they did a great job finding space inside. I can fit behind myself.
Yeah, the second row is pretty spacious. Headroom is great. Feels very, the greenhouse, the visibility view out is very, very nice. And you have usable cargo space and second row space because they did not opt to turn this into, as Jason Engineering explained, not a little teardrop generic egg-shaped thing, which does have a slight penalty in terms of overall aerodynamic efficiency, but still pretty dang good.
I think they were saying like 10 miles was what they would get if they turned it into a teardrop. So they were just like...
Which I would take that trade-off.
Right, for sure.
All right, we're on curvy roads. I'm going to go back into Sport. Yeah, it's obviously it's quick. It makes 656 horsepower.
We were noting too that you can really hear the electric motor when you fly.
Yeah, I like that it don't have any, to my ears, synthesized additional fake noise. They're not leaning into it. It's just like the whine of the motors, and that's it. Well,
they have no heritage where they want to try to replicate that too, which I think is a really an easier position to be coming from versus like, you know, the Ioniq 5N. Like, yeah, it's cool that it makes the engine noises, but some of them I feel like it's. You know, it's an EV, it's different. Like, let's just accept that.
Let's just accept it. It doesn't need to do that thing. I actually really like this. It feels like all the parts of the R1S that I really, really liked and the R1T distilled down to a smaller package, which I think was their goal.
Yeah, totally.
To not make it, it's not a decontented, cheaper entry model. It still looks really nice. It's got the fun, cool innovations that whenever I have a Rivian, these are the things I'm showing people, right? I'm like, oh, look at this. Look at the flashlight in the door. Look at all these different things. The bird chirp sounds when you lock it, right? And it's preserving a lot of that essence in a much more affordable, much more friendly size and just wider market appeal package. Now, is there anything we don't like? Anything that we're not a fan of?
It doesn't have CarPlay. Which
no CarPlay or Android Auto,
And we were noting, I want to talk to the UI guy about this, but when you are in, it does have built-in Apple Music and we were playing around with that, there doesn't seem to be a place to do like voice search. So
there's no microphone.
Yeah, when you press the search, it just pulls up a keypad even when you're driving, which doesn't really seem safe.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an Apple thing or if that's a Rivian thing. They did mention there's going to be some type of AI assistant coming later. I think a Google-based Gemini thing. But for right now, I'm not sure. We'll have to talk to someone about that.
Yeah. I really like the Halo wheels.
Yeah, those are cool.
They're a really, really fun way to interface, and it's tactile, right? It's not just a little swipey touchscreen. What else? The center console storage is pretty good. We have 2 glove boxes. I was joking with Jeff that eventually over time, the average Rivian glove box to vehicle ratio will approach 1 because all the R1s have 0, all the R2s have 2, so it'll eventually average out to just 1 glove box per vehicle, which is random nerd obscure math that nobody ever would actually think about. Man, is there anything that be like, not good?
The exterior bumper situation is a little weird.
A couple of little design
things.
The
paint situation.
The painted front piece. You're not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I don't like there's a line right on the front fender, and I think it may have to do with they were saying how to try to meet European pedestrian crash standards. They had to redesign a lot of those pieces, like the hood closure and things like that. I don't know. I'm actually very, very impressed.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. And we were sitting in the standard model yesterday, and how similar that feels to this is really, really cool. Really, the only thing you don't get, the window that folds down, and then the full autonomy suite.
Yes.
I do like that you can get that as a one-time option. I think it's like $2,500.
Something like that, and you get it with the launch edition. So
it's like $40 a month.
Yeah. Oh, I do like the 5X, all windows down, including the rear window. dropping, which is, this is actually really cool.
Yeah.
The whole open air experience.
Fisker had this in the Fisker Ocean. They called it California mode.
I see.
Where you roll, and they had the rear quarter windows could also roll down.
Yeah. But Fisker also showed how hard it is to build a car, right? Like, to be a car company.
Yeah, and the fact that Rivian is like doing it really well, and like just talking with all the people who work for Rivian that are here, like, these are like some of the smartest people in the world.
Gosh.
Like, they are just so talented.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool to get to hang
Hearing
out
somebody
with them.
who is just so smart and just so skilled and knowledgeable in their field speak is always such a treat. And then you have idiots like me who get in the cars and, it's just game over. But, I mean, infotainment, overall, very, very nice. Graphics, visuals. And the thing is, and I know a lot of Rivian owners feel this, is their cars keep getting better. Mm-hmm. You wake up and it's got this new thing. Oh, the new gauges have been added. Oh, the graphic, like, it's always improving. And that is something that's really, really cool to experience that we don't get when we just drive a car for a day or own it or have it for a week.
I also like that they are moved back to the carabiner key fob. The new R1s have that, but I think for a while they weren't offering it.
I hate the key card.
Yes, the key cards. No.
Oh,
and this is so like practical too. You can,
it's really cool.
Yeah.
It looks cool. I like key fobs. I'm actually very weirdly particular about key fobs. Like, if a car is a really cheap feeling key fob, I'm not happy. Like, I don't like the new gen Audi key fobs. I actually like my older gen. They had the weight and solidity to them. And you could swap the cap with a Lamborghini and mess with it. Let's see. They also, speaking of the keys, they've changed the connectivity, whatchamacallit, so your phone as a key should have further range for recognition and a more solid connection. Honestly, most owners use their phone as key. Which would make, I did try that out. I had the app installed a week that I had a R1, and that worked pretty well. You could see where the car was, started up and everything, and then I gave the car back to Rivian, and they never removed me from the app, so I kept seeing where the car was. I'm like, I should just, like, how can I quit this? Like,
you could, like, turn the car on.
Yeah, I could. I literally could. I'd be like, oh, lights on, or like whatever. But driving dynamics wise, very impressed. All season tires, ride quality's fine. Handling has been really good up here. Body roll is pretty good. Now we are in the highest tier suspension. I think we'll both be really interested to try out the true entry level one.
Yeah, for sure.
Standard rear wheel drive with actually even the smaller battery pack. That's going to be the true $45,000 one.
Yep. But it's still 275 miles of range.
Yeah, they're targeting that. But if you do the 88 kilowatt hour battery pack rear wheel drive, it's like 345 miles of range rated and a very reasonable price point. I want to definitely try the entry-level one. It's always cool when we start with these top of the line. You get all the bells and whistles, the most power, most everything.
But I still cannot believe that this is under 60.
Yeah.
Like, that's really impressive to me.
And that's without tax credits.
Right.
Those have gone bye-bye.
Right.
So
there's some state ones.
Yeah, your state ones will vary, so there's still a lot of variables. Pricing EVs is so confusing because it's like, what kind of incentives can you stack and what's going on with whatever. But I like this quite a lot. I like that it doesn't look and feel like a generic egg.
Yeah, and this is definitely, like, I think a lot of people will be like, oh, but the Model Y is cheaper. But this feels more substantial. It looks more substantial.
Yeah.
Like, obviously design is subjective, but I think this is definitely better looking than a Model Y.
Yeah, and I think Rivian's built itself a really good reputation for the whole adventure and really cool usability and just fun features. It has more personality.
Yeah, for sure.
Some EVs just very easily go from A to B. It's an appliance. It's a tool to get from A to B. But if you care at all about the vehicle you're in and want to go on adventures and enjoy being in the car, but still have the tech features and things like that, good choice.
Right.
Materials feel really nice, spacious. Man, good job, Rivian. Good job. All right, this was just a very quick, we're literally in Utah for, I think, under 24 hours. Yeah. So a quick first impressions and drive review of the Rivian R2, getting as much experience as we can with it. There are so many more things to dig into. The Rivian team was here. A lot of their heads of teams, from their software to the AI stuff to autonomy to design and engineering. And there's lots of learning. I synthesized a little bit of the data. Hopefully we conveyed a tiny bit of it, but definitely need to spend a whole week living with one of these to really, really get into it. And I'm sure all the people who have these on order will be very, very happy.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype about when this car came out, and I know a lot of people personally who are like really interested in this car, and it's really awesome to see that driving it, yeah, it delivers. It's like, it's what you want it to be.
They did a good job.
Yeah.
And they needed to. This is, I don't think it's an overstatement to say it's the most important thing they'll do, because it's kind of make it or break it. R1,
Right.
I mean, it's very well documented. Rivian has been burning cash like crazy. So for the R2 to do well, as long as they've got good profit margins, they've really lowered the complexity and cost to build it and make money at a much lower price point. Lower price point means more people would be willing to buy it. You have a larger pool. Hopefully we start seeing R2s all over the streets, and then they continue on and give us the R3 and R3X.
Yeah, those are cool.
R3X is what I am really, really looking forward to. Maybe they'll do an R2X. Tri-motor.
Yeah.
Turn it up a bit, make it
R2T.
fun. Yeah, or an R2D2. All right, I'm gonna turn back around. Looks like we're clear. How's the turning radius? No fancy rear steer, anything? Pretty good.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that's good for something of this size. We'll head back to our stopping point. Hope you guys enjoyed this first drive review. Look at the Rivian R2. Thanks to @Drake for joining me, as always. I feel like a lot of the OEMs now, when they know we're on the same wave, they just know we're going to be drive partners.
And I can't believe they would assume that.
It's so presumptuous. I hate this guy. He hates me too, right? You said, what do you say in the group chat? Yeah, my drive partner's really annoying.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
See you guys.